Scott Massa here with Michigan Pneumatic. Today we're going to go over the proper check-in procedures for your chipping hammer. Let's take a look at this one here, get it ready for its next job. Here we have our chipping hammer that just came back from rent. Before we do anything, we want to make sure the air hose is disconnected from any sort of air supply. And we'll do a quick overview of the tool, starting with the retainer spring, looks pretty good. Go up to the exhaust deflector. We want to make sure there's no major damage that we can see right off the bat. Bolts and nuts feel like they're tight. Trigger action feels pretty good. Handle looks like it's in pretty good shape. Tool looks great. Hose not so much. Hose looks like it's seen better days, so we're going to definitely want to get this replaced before we take it over to the test pad. Now that we've replaced the whip hose on our tool, let's take it over to the test pad, see how it's running. Now that we've replaced the whip hose on our tool and brought it back from testing, we want to take a little bit more of a detailed look at the tool overall. First, let's move to the trigger. We want to make sure that the trigger action is smooth, operating like a normal in a brand new tool. If we're catching on anything, we want to note that. Next, again, moving up to the nuts and bolts, we want to make sure that these are nice and tight. Those seem to be good. Next, we like to move down to the bottom of the tool. So we're going to take the retainer spring out. We're also going to remove our chisel and retainer from the tool. Now that we've removed our retainer spring and chisel, let's take a look at the end of the customer's chisel that they sent back. This is one of the leading indicators of any issues that might be happening inside of the tool. We want to look for any flattening at the top of the chisel or any witness marks on the side of our chisel as well. These can lead to two things, either damage to the piston or our bushing on the inside of the barrel has been worn out. We want to take a look at both of those. With chipping hammers, each chisel can come in either hex or round shank, along with either an oval or round collar. Hex shank chisels are designed to help the user find a particular angle they want for better control while in use. A round shank chisel will follow the workpiece, allowing the chisel end to change orientation as the customer uses their tool. Next, we want to take a look at the bushing inside the tool. Grab your flashlight, take a look down the barrel. You don't want to see any damage in there, but if you do, this is not a field replaceable part. The tool will need to come back to Michigan Pneumatic so we can press a new bushing in there for you and it'll be ready to go. Next, let's take a look at our retainer and retainer spring. In the inside of the retainer, we want to take a look at the spring groove, making sure there's no debris or damage to that groove, as well as any other imperfections we might see. This one looks pretty good. Now let's move to the retainer spring. A design fail point on the tool to help protect your retainer and the overall health of your tool. It's a very inexpensive part. We should be replacing these often. Next, we need to take a look at the nuts and bolts of the tool. We want to take a look and see if any of these are loose. If they are loose, we're not going to be tightening them. What that means is our absorber ring or gaskets inside the tool have become overly compressed. We need to replace those as well as our nuts and bolts. These nuts and bolts have a one-time use. You should be replacing these as a kit. If the bolts on your tool are needing replacing, we also want you to replace your absorber ring and your bumper valve seat, since the tool is open already. Also, looking at the barrel flange and handle, we see a small air gap. We want to make sure your tool looks just like ours here. Now that we've taken a more detailed look at our tool, taken care of any parts that needed replacing, let's get it ready to go to the test pad. First, let's take a look at our oiler here, checking out our sight glass to make sure we have enough oil. Also, if you have the recommended but optional filter, let's take that apart, grab our brass element on the inside, let's clean this out, replace it, put it back on our whip hose, and we're ready to test. We're back here at our test pad in our testing room. One quick point I want to make. When we're testing a tool, we want to make sure there's a chisel in the tool. If there's no chisel in there, we're more than likely going to damage the inside of our tool. As you can see, we got our new whip hose here. Let's see how she runs. Feels pretty good. Think it's good to go. Now that we've tested our tool, ensuring that it's ready for rent, it's your turn to install your ready to rent tag. Place it on your shelf and have it ready to make you some more money. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Scott from Michigan Pneumatic. Have a wonderful day.